Okay, coming to the end of cycle 5. Things are going, I think, reasonably well. Big picture, not a great deal has changed. I'm now up to 24 stars, soon to be 25. So that is a quarter of the way to the victory stars. And above the 10% per player 20 star threshold. So I think I'm doing reasonably well. But who knows? Ultra dark. The bot predictably crumbled despite my stupidity. And definitely this was a reminder that we're not playing Neptune Pride. So, in other news, I've made a friend. Or rather, Chilombe and I have taken our relationship to the next level. And we've now allied up. That was necessary because if I go back, conquered Westwind, right, and really there's just nothing here. I couldn't see these at the time. I could see Sula. Well, you could see Arnoth and Sula, yep. But basically, I was like, okay, well, what happens after that, right? Because these are probably the last of the Bard stars. And we discussed attacking Ephialtes, who's just north of Chilombe, together. And we thought, okay, if I'm going to do that, I need to have an alliance so that I can go through your stars. Draco is probably allied with Ephialtes, so we'll likely also join the party when that happens. But Chilombe is relatively small. Ephialtes has done some stupid moves and thus is a bit weak, so we figure this is a good move. So we allied up. Great. So I move to Arnoth. Move to Arnoth. And here's where I forget that I am playing not Neptune's Pride. Because like, I don't want to join your defensive war. I'm going to go attack Sulia and take that star for myself. I told Chilombe to take Hyperborea. I don't want to go in and eat all these stars. Oh, of course, oops, ship-to-ship combat. So there you go, I took out some stars, some ships unnecessarily, especially because there was a kernel on that. So if I'd stayed, I would have lost fewer ships by quite a margin. Fortunately, it works out okay, because the bot goes to defend Hyperborea. I take Sulia, and then I'm going to take this last one as well. So the bot's pretty much wrapped up at this point. So I'm chatting to Chilombe about what's next. Chilombe says that Totally Here, who is kind of next to Ephialtes as well, we're both to the north of her at least. Totally Here wants to join an alliance with Chilombe. Totally Here was to play the AFK'd and then came back. I don't really know how that works. I presume though that still means that they had a fairly weak start, so they're probably not a very strong player in terms of their position. They might be a good player, just I don't think they're going to have a very good position. If you've ever seen my Sigma Rising video, this what if scenario, this is exactly what I talk about here. Right, okay, so Totally Ward is Ephialtes. We've got two options. Either we bring Totally Here into the fold with us, or basically throw them into the arms of Ephialtes. So we're basically choosing which side of the 3v2 we want to be on, right? Now Ephialtes is probably, sorry, neither of those two players, Ephialtes or Totally Here, are going to be the strongest position, but nor is Chilombe. And then Draco has quite a few stars, well, sorry, rather quite a few ships on my border. This is weird. This ship went up from Sissia to Scadia. Well, went to Scadia, didn't go through it, and then came down to Sissia. So I'm not sure what it's just like. I think Draco might just be bad at the game, to be honest. Like, this is either the world's worst collection, or he's doing something just weird, or he's doing messing up his orders like I did. That's possible too, because I've done a lot of those. Anyway, so Draco's got what, 100, 200, yeah, you got about 300 ships on my border, which I've got a 24-hour nap with him. I could easily get about the same by the time any nap finishes, especially using these warp gates here. So, short version is, right, Vasari will be done very soon. I've agreed with Chilombe that we'll join totally here into the fold. The three of us will launch an Ephialtes. There's a question of timing. Most of this is just about tech, boring conversation. Here we go, right? Not too fussed, yada yada. So the main thing is that I'm worried about Draco, and I want to be able to make sure that I can pivot to Draco if necessary. Why Lieutenant? The West Wind is on the other side of Chilombe's territory. I have to go through Chilombe's territory, and I want my infiltrator and my lieutenant to be on the same speed rather than the colonel, which is slow. You know, I like the colonel, but that I want to hit Ephialtes quickly, and that 75% speed is a problem for doing that. And then one of the reasons I think I'm doing pretty well is tech, which we'll come back to in a second. So I think we're going to move pretty quickly on this one. I suspect this time tomorrow I will be at war with Ephialtes. That Chilombe will have triggered their countdown. That Draco will have triggered his countdown. And that the game will start to get much more interesting than it currently is. Last thing on tech. Everybody caught up to me, and then I pulled ahead again. So everybody's about half a day behind, I think, in terms of tech. But, you know, obviously I'm trading, so that's part of it. But here you go. I've got range and experimentation over Yukim. Yukim pulled up. Yukim was way behind and then pulled up. So he's clearly traded with someone to catch up, which is ominous in its own right. Draco. You know, I've been trading some with Draco, and I'm still ahead on hyperspace and specialists, right? Plus I've got Manu coming in 8 ticks, sorry. But it's going to be 7 ticks because I'm going to buy by science in the post-production. And then I've got weapons is going to come, again, because of the purchase, it's going to be coming essentially about this time tomorrow. About the time I'm going to be fighting people, funnily enough. Favorite tactic of mine. So I'm feeling pretty good about tech situation. And I realize as well, I can see a capital, right? And you know, in the previous video I was talking about, well, how do I benchmark? Because this 115 star 742 is somewhat equivalent to my, if I can find the bloody thing, Manda. Okay, this is slightly lower resources, right? But still 542. So the question is this higher because he spent more? So is this higher because he's been better about investing his funds? Or is this higher because he's running out of stars to invest on and things are getting more expensive for him? Don't know. What I realized was capital stars are a great way of benchmarking because they start with a fixed and relatively high infrastructure and thus cost, right? So spending 133 on science is not unreasonable. Spending 100 on industry and spending 50 on econ would be quite unreasonable. So if they're not building up their science, their capital, it shows that that's the threshold, right? So they're not spending more than that. I'm be watching these capitals like a hawk, because if they start going up, then I know that these people are relatively small. Because if they have to spend on their capital, that means that they've run out of better places to spend, and so that should be not too bad. So that's what I'm hoping for. We'll see how all of this goes in the next day. Hopefully the next video will be more interesting than this one. For now, friendship and bot killing is the game.